Hey friends, it's Mike from the Helpful Dad channel here on YouTube, as well as thathelpfuldad.com, the blog. Today I want to talk to you about morning routines, specifically morning routines for working men and women like me. So, it's 6 a.m. on a Monday. I'm here in Scrubs because I work in the pharmaceutical and medical device industry. I'm just an average Joe with a worker bee job, but I've really benefited from doing a morning routine, and I wanted to share with you, what I've learned about it, and especially if you're in a situation like me where you kind of have a full-time job but you still want to try a morning routine so you can get those benefits, then this is for you. I didn't invent the concept of morning routine. They're all the rage these days. You've got gurus like Tim Ferris and Tony Robbins talking about it. You got people writing books about it like Hal Elrond, great book. Benjamin Hardy, real famous author, writing about that as well too. But a lot of those morning routines, they're fantastic, but they take like 2 to 4 hours to complete if you do all that stuff. And you know, I don't have time to do that in the morning. I would venture a lot of working men and women also can't do that. So I come with what I call the SMART morning routine, SMART, all capitalized. And I'll talk about what that means in a moment, but it's specifically for working men and women, and you can do it in as little as 30 minutes and still get the majority of the benefits. So what I've got shown on the page here is my website, which has a blog post about it. So you don't have to take any notes because it's all there for you. I'll put a link to it in the show notes, and you can get all this information. We're just the purpose of this video is we're going to go through it. I'm going to explain what a morning routine is if you don't know, and if you need to skip ahead, certainly you can. I'll explain the one I do specifically that you can do in as little as 30 minutes, and then we'll talk about the benefits of that as well too. If you have a morning routine you do, I would love to hear it. I'd love to keep, kind of tweaking, so to speak, and so please, by all means, share. So let's go through some of the stuff right here. We'll just kind of page down here. And again, the whole point of this routine is it's going to fit the busy lives that we have as busy men and women. And if you want to know what SMART stands for, again, I didn't invent this. This relates to kind of goal planning. It's something that's specific or simple, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. And that's what my morning routine is. So just to kind of give you a quick summary, 2 points here. First, you're trying to prime your mind, your body, and your soul. Use kind of a series of breathing exercises, wisdom contemplation, and I'll talk about all this in a moment, and then kind of what I call wisdom release from inside you. And then you're going to identify, excuse me, your specific goals for the day. Your 3 most important goals, you're going to visualize yourself actively working on them and then successfully completing those things. So that's kind of a brief summary, and I'll talk about it in more detail so it kind of makes more sense, right? So, why did I get started on doing this? Actually, it goes back to a book that Tim Ferris wrote, so hashtag Tim Ferris, thank you. His book, Tools of Titans, was fantastic, and I got like 100+ tips from that thing, and this was one of them, so I really encourage you to read that if you haven't read it back. But I got real busy last year, and I kind of got off target doing all this work-focused stuff, and none of it was really like me-focused, and while it was great for work, it wasn't so great for me, and so by incorporating the morning routine in, or the AM ritual in, and particularly the SMART routine that I do, it just made me get back on my life's track. If you like the tips that I'm following, or that I'm talking about, be sure to follow my blog. You can get all my tips, right there by email for free. I also got a couple of cool freebies on the blog, so make sure you check it out. As you can see right here, it's thathelpfuldad.com, okay? And again, I'll put a link to that in the notes. So let's talk about the morning routine, the SMART morning routine. And specifically, it starts with controlling something. This takes like 1 or 2 minutes. It's one little thing, doesn't be perfect, doesn't even matter what it is, right? You're just going to get it done, and when you get it done, that's one thing done. You've controlled something for the day. If you're a type A personality like me, you know how important it is to control things, right? So it can be as simple as making a bed. It could be, if your office is messy, clean something up. Doesn't really matter what it is, just do it, get it done, and you're like, yes, I can do this. Task number 1 is done, just like that. Okay, the next thing is prime the body. And so this takes maybe 3 to 5 minutes. So I do sun salutations. It's a real simple yoga routine, takes just a few minutes, and it starts to connect the mind and the body together. Now, if you're new to yoga, I'm sure there's lots of great videos on YouTube about sun salutations. There's a great free app called Track Yoga. I have a link to that there, as you can see on the page. But you really kind of learn to memorize it. It's so simple. And so I do that. I also live in Florida, so I get to look at things like this. So kind of a bonus for me, but you can put a picture up as well too. Um, the next thing I do, and this is kind of funny here, I do 10 reps of something, and this is again these first two things are right out of the Tim Ferriss book, right? So it could be push-ups, jumping jacks, punches, doesn't matter. It's just 10. It's not a workout. You're just trying to get the body, the blood kind of pumping, the body ready to go. It's like starting an engine, so to speak. And I have a note here. I'm a big Seinfeld fan, and there's an episode with Kenny Bania who famously says, I start out with curls. It's good for the bicep. I do 10 reps, 2 sets. Do you work out, Jerry? Right? So obviously you're going to recognize that if you're a Seinfeld fan. But anyway, I do that as part of the morning routine. First two things done, maybe takes 4 to 5 minutes. Next step is add in some caffeine. So I do intermittent fasting. I've got a great article and also a video about intermittent fasting if you want to know about that. It really has been fantastic for me. So I just do 1 cup of black coffee with cinnamon. I might actually put some grass-fed butter in that, or maybe some coconut, just some healthy fats. But this allows me to keep my intermittent fasting going, and that single cup of coffee gives me the energy I need really to get all the way through 10 or 11 o'clock. Just as a side note here real quick, I've got a great recipe for what I call Cinnabon coffee. It's absolutely fantastic. I'll have a link to that as well too, but you can see that it's right there on the blog, and it uses quality coffee, grass-fed butter, and cinnamon. So check that out as well too. Anyway, we're adding some caffeine that takes like no time. The next thing is number 4, okay, we're going to prime the mind. Now this takes, 10, 15 minutes depending on how much you want to invest in it, but, I'm big into wisdom. If you look at my blog, I'm all about kind of sharing wisdom. It could be, life lesson wisdom, or it could be just practical solutions to real life problems, or it could be career tips, right? But, I always remember this from Tony Robbins' book, Awaken the Giant Within, years ago. If your life is worth living, it's worth recording. And so therefore, one of the things I do to prime the mind is to do a quick journal, a morning journal, right? And again, this is something that Tim Ferriss does, and a lot of other people do this, right? So just some ideas. You can see these there on the blog if you want to read them in more detail, but it could be something that you're grateful for. It could be something that happened in the past, or something that will make today great. You could be complaining about something. You just kind of put it on paper to release it, right? It could be I love this from Tim Ferriss, the idea muscle, where you just basically think of something like, what makes me content, or what's on my bucket list, or how can I focus my time to increase my goal achievement. And you just write 10 quick answers and ideas for that. And I tell you what, I've gotten some fantastic, idea starters from that. I also like to think of affirmations, 3 affirmations. These are one-liners. It's like positive self-talk that I say to myself. And I've got an article on that too, 79 affirmations that will transform your reality. So there's tons of them here, right on this page. And if you go down, you start to see them there, right? And I say these to myself while I'm breathing. I'm an awesome father. I know my children know I love them. They know that I'm here to fully support their hopes and their dreams, and I believe they can accomplish anything. I am one with the Force, and the Force is one with me, right? Or, my life is not complicated. I live it as it comes, and I find the beauty that is all around me. There's a whole bunch of them here on this page. The point is, I incorporate these affirmations into my morning routine, and I visualize that while I'm breathing, and it puts me in a positive frame of mind before I even start the day. And then the final thing of this internal wisdom here is I use something from Tim Ferriss and Tony Robbins again. It's called 3 to Thrive. And I've got a whole other video on this and a blog article on it. But the point is, it's the 3 things that if I accomplish nothing else today will still make today a win. Right? And that's 3 to Thrive. I write those down. I actually breathe and visualize myself accomplishing them. And when you do that, right, you just put yourself in that success mindset. And I know that sounds like a lot, but this was really only like 10 to 15 minutes. It doesn't take very long at all to do all this. So it's golden, right? And again, there's more on the website, so you can kind of see that, particularly about the affirmations. But that's the part about priming the mind. The next thing I do, number 5, is I prime the soul, maybe for 5 or 10 minutes. So I'm still continuing my breathing routine, right? Calm breathing, right? And I start to kind of do the process of connecting the body with the mind by seeking wisdom now from external sources. So I was doing the internal wisdom source, and now I'm doing the external source. I'm real big on Proverbs, and I love reading the Gospels, so I take some time to read, just one chapter of Proverbs, and also one, snippet from the Gospels as well too. And I'll continue my breathing while I'm doing that. And then I'll also read a verse from the Tao Te Ching as well. I think that's some great wisdom there as well too. When you combine those two things, you're really setting yourself up for success. And I think of this as like an active meditation experience. It's kind of like the top of the pyramid when you're in the priming stage. Makes me feel like Douglas Adams says, I wrote down here, you're connected to life, the universe, and everything. Right? It sounds corny, but it really is true. Okay, so that might be all you need for your morning routine. I'm big on writing as well too. I've written a number of books. If you go to the website, you can actually read these books for free. I've got fiction novels that are kind of like J.R.R. Tolkien type stuff. I've got a biblical adventure novel. I've got a book with my son about Minecraft. I got an options investing article. I'm writing a book, a self-help book that relates to my Yorkshire Terrier and the lessons I learned from her. So there's a lot of stuff there. So I love to write. Obviously, I do the blogging as well too. So I take a little bit of time, just maybe 10, 30 minutes or so, and I do some writing, and I find that to be therapeutic for me. Again, it gets me in a positive frame of mind as well too. And something Tim Ferris said that stuck with me, why I try to write every day. Even if I only write 2 crappy pages per day, it's still a win. The reason it's a win is because at least I've done something towards a legacy goal that I have, right? That's one of my legacy goals. But often those 2 pages will turn into more, and that then becomes a real win. So, so that's cool. And then that's what I do kind of in the morning, right? So just a quick recap right here. You've got controlling something, 1 or 2 minutes. Priming the body, 3 to 5 minutes. Adding some caffeine, no time at all. Priming the mind, that's the longest time, 10 to 15 minutes. And then priming the soul, 5 to 10 minutes. Writing, actually that's the longest time, 10 to 30 minutes, right? And then I check back at the end of the day, just real quick, 1 or 2 minutes, did I complete my 3 to thrive, right? So I come back to the end, and that's kind of like closes out the day. So that's what I do for my morning routine. You can do it in 30 to 60 minutes, right? And you might say, geez, I don't have the time even to do that. Okay, again, like I said, it's 31 minutes to 63 minutes if you time it out, right? And so for the first 47 years of my life, I didn't want to get up early in the morning. I was really busy, and I thought, I don't even have that much time. But after I read that book, I did as Tim Ferris suggested. I started to get up at 6:30, and that worked. Then I started to get up at 6. Now I'm getting up at 5:30. And what I found is that I can't wait to get out of bed. And I'm so productive in the morning before I start my workday with this me time. It really just has increased my productivity so much. And as you can see some of the benefits there, it's increased my productivity, it's increased my writing, it's reduced my stress, and it gets me up early in the day so I can attack the day, right? And so I want to share that with you, because if you think you don't have time, time is there for you, right? I'm a worker bee like you. I got a job that sometimes goes way beyond 9 to 5. I'm sometimes at the hospitals for a much later period of time. Sometimes I have to travel and I'm away from home, right? But I got 2 kids. I've got a wife. I've got a family. I like to do other things, and I'm finding the time. I'm hoping that you can do it too. You might look at this and say, "Gosh, Mike, this is not rocket science, right? This is pretty simple," and that it's true, right? But we both know that if you follow a plan that's proven to work and you do it consistently, consistency plus action equals results, right? And so you can experience the same benefits as me. So was this helpful to you? I mean, I hope it was. If it was, please, share the video with somebody else. If you got a morning routine that you do or something, or tips you want to add, interact with me on the blog or the website or the YouTube channel. They work hand in hand. And make sure you do follow the blog, because I give out these wisdom tips. I send them out by email, or I post them on the blog, and you can be the first to get them. And like I said, I also have a couple cool freebies as well too. On the blog right now, I'm giving away this Essential Guide to Awesomeness, my 2018 edition, so you can pick that up for free just for subscribing to the blog, which is also free. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.